that name crashing, no mother crying, yeah. This moment she'd have been waiting for. The angel opens her eyes, yeah, in a pale blue-colored iris.
Hi, I'm Ed Kowalczyk, and you're watching The Rock Office.
Hey everyone out there, you've reached the Rock Office. Time to clock in and rock out. I'm your host, Bill Smith.
And I'm Kevin Davis.
And we are excited to bring you this episode. One of our heroes growing up, Mr. Ed Kowalczyk, former lead singer of the band Live. Many of you recognize the name, the band Throwing Copper, their 20-year anniversary of that album with such hits, Lightning Crashes, I Alone. It's just a blockbuster album, sold over 8 million copies.
Huge album.
We had the privilege to go backstage at his performance at Kent, Ohio, and talk to him. Just a great, humble guy. It was such an honor and a privilege to really, at least someone like, to me, growing up was significant in my musical landscape and shaping my love and opinion of music.
Yeah, I haven't met a person yet that when the name Ed Kowalczyk or Live comes up, they don't have some sort of an emotional connection to some of those songs because anybody who agrees with me, which I would imagine is quite a few, they know that those songs are really heartfelt lyric songs that can speak to a lot of things going on in your life. We actually talk a little bit about Ed in regards to some of that stuff here in the interview, so you definitely want to check that out. Experience down at Kent Stage also very top notch. We want to thank them for their hospitality, and we actually hope to be able to work with them again here in the future.
Yeah, they were great.
Great people.
Very accommodating.
I don't know how it is that we've not been down there yet to cover anything, but we certainly hope to be back down there. So
yeah, I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
So also check out, I recently wrote a review of his latest album, Mr. Kowalczyk I'm referring to. His latest album, you can check that review out, plus our top 10 list. Check out our merchandise. We are wearing our TRO t-shirts. You can get all that. You can get the TRO stickers. See the photos that he takes on the other guys take them while we're on set and location. Rockoffice.com. So without any further ado, we are very excited and honored to bring you our interview with Mr. Ed Kowalczyk. Here you go. All right, we are backstage here at the Kent Stage in Kent, Ohio, and I have the pleasure of sitting with Mr. Ed Kowalczyk, former lead singer of the band Live. Thank you so much for being on the show with us today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. We're such big fans of yours all of my adult life, and actually as a youngster, growing up listening to your music, and it's meant so much to me. I know the rest of us here at the Rock Office, so thank you, sir.
Pleasure.
I guess just going to get right into the interview.
Sounds good to me.
First question is, I know you're currently on your I Alone tour, which very clever.
Yeah.
And I know you're also touring in support of your new album, The Flood and the Mercy.
Yes.
How is the tour going? How has the response been from that? And how's the response been from your new album? I knew it just debuted.
Yeah.
About 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's been out in Australia and Europe for a little while, but it just came out here a few weeks ago in the States, North America. All the above, going great, man. I mean, the tour has been amazing. We just came from Nashville, Franklin, Tennessee last night. Played an incredible show there. Yeah, we back from Europe not that long ago. We took the Island Acoustic Tour there. I say we because sometimes it's myself and my bass player Chris Herline plays acoustic bass and sings with me. He's not on my tour right now. It's just myself. But yeah, that was amazing. And the response to the new album's been incredible. I mean, we had the #2 rock song with Seven in Australia on the rock radio.
Congratulations!
Thank you. And so the fans are really digging it. They think it's like a return to kind of like a density and a passion that was in maybe Throwing Copper era Live. So
yes,
that's something. And Peter Buck performed on 9 songs of REM.
And that segues nicely into my next question. How did that come about? I mean, he's a legend.
Yeah, I've been friends with all the guys in REM off and on for over the years. I sang with them in '95 at Hershey Park Stadium, and I hadn't seen Peter for a while. And my producer Jamie Candeloro he actually engineered 2 or 3 REM records and is friendly with the guys, and was at a wedding. Well, just happened to be at a wedding in LA while we were making the record, and saw Peter, and Peter said, "Hey, what are you working on these days?" And I'm working on Ed Kowalczyk's new solo album. And Peter said, "Well, are you doing it in LA, man? Maybe I could play on it." And,
wow.
And so, of course, Jamie calls him and says, "Hey, Peter'd like to play on the album." And of course, I flipped out. And,
how you gonna turn that down?
Exactly. We went up to Portland, Oregon, and hung out for a couple awesome days up there. It's recorded in Scott McCoy's basement. Scott McCoy also played on it. Rachel Yamagata sang on 3 songs. She's amazing. So the really high caliber level of guest musician on this record.
I would say, yeah. Now, one thing I did notice, your manager sent me the album a couple of weeks ago, and I've been just dissecting it, and I love it. And one of the things I really used to love, or I guess I still do love about Live's music, is there's always been like spiritual overtones.
Sure.
On this album and your last album, Live, I noticed that the spiritual overtones have been, I'll say, more precise.
Yeah.
More of a gospel Christian theme. Is that a reflection on?
Yeah, I returned, kind of came full circle in my faith as a Christian. I was born and baptized in the Roman Catholic Church tradition, and I remained there. And I came sort of, probably 3 or 4 years ago, right around the time that I, put out my first solo album. I just kind of re-embraced faith of my youth, and and it was really apparent on Alive. Songs like Zion and Grace, and this one, I used there's still Holy Water Tears and Angels on a Razor, so I'm clearly still using the biblical metaphors. I would say the overall vibe of this one is different than Alive, in the sense this one's a little bit more intense. There's some some sort of there's definitely some anger management moments on there, which we all have to do from time to time in our lives when we deal with things. But so it's somehow that it all ties together, though, and for me, in the sense that it goes to all these emotional places, which makes it an honest record from my point of view, and I mean an honest portrait of where I am as an artist, what I've been through, and trying to push the envelope, trying to use different textures and approach things differently with Jamie to just give it a real artistic depth as well.
Well, and I can totally see that, because there are textures of you trying to branch out and grow as an artist, but there's also, like, you are the heart and soul of what Live was, and that comes through in this, and it comes through, it's your personality, and there's a familiarity to the album that fans will be able, at least I was able to grab and say, okay, this is new, but it's still familiar to my heart.
Right, yeah. Well, being the main songwriter and lyricist and melodist in Live, my craft of just sitting there coming up with the best songs I can, that hasn't really changed at all. So that's still the core of it, and everything that I'm known for in terms of dynamic and how I sing and the kind of lyrics even is very, very evident there in all the releases that I've had as a solo artist.
Awesome. We are here at the Kent stage with Ed Kowalczyk. We'll be right back.
Spend a little time standing on the front lines, and you really can't talk it all. Your mind begins to wonder, is there any love at all? The photographs you took, there was something in their eyes. Every saint used to be a sinner, every man used to be a child. You said it was all inside my mind. You were wrong. There was grace. You saw the enemy. I saw your face. People like you and I, spinning through space. You were wrong. I still have faith. I still have faith.
All right, we are back with, at least in my world, the legendary Ed Kowalczyk, and formerly singer of the band Live. And if I might ask you a few questions concerning Live, you guys have kind of parted ways, if you will. And I don't want to be too intrusive or too, if this is a touchy subject, and forgive me, but maybe if your renewal in your faith, did that have something to do with the departure, or is it just you guys needed to take a break from each other, or can you share? No,
I don't think it was related to that at all. I think I think that was more coincidental than anything. That really the vibe was that we played our last show in 2009. At least wasn't necessarily supposed to be the last show. It was actually the beginning of a 2-year hiatus, which turned into more of a permanent breach in the relationship of the band, simply because their lawsuits leveled at me, which I thought were, to put it mildly, BS, and really driven by sort of like an anger at the fact that I was going out as a solo artist and wanting to try new things. And, I've been doing it for 20 years the same way. And I felt like, I was bored. I just kind of lost my passion for it. And so, it was a real wild time, because there was just this incredible excitement of a new beginning and a new chapter, but and the legal stuff and all that. But, in some ways, I've always tried to be a person that takes lemons and makes lemonade, and I think I did. I think when you listen to these records, especially the Flood and the Mercy, you can really hear that this is somebody who's been through some stuff and has put the sort of catharsis and has created this record as a cathartic growth experience to process all that emotion.
Healing.
Yeah, healing and a processing of it all, and it's in there. And I mean, it feels, and I think that's part of the depth of the record. Wouldn't be there if it hadn't been for the challenges that were thrown at me.
Yeah. Now, next year, 20th anniversary of Throwing Copper. I think in the 90s, when you think of seminal albums, certainly that is one of them. Where are you guys, or what are you at with celebrating that next year? Is there going to be like a deluxe remastered edition? People have been doing that a lot lately. Or are you going to tour that?
Well, I don't know about my feeling about those reissues and releases are it's already out. To me, I've never been all that turned on by them. I mean, I know people do them and their promotional aspect to them and stuff. But on the other hand, the touring is a big part of what I do, of course, the main part of what I do. And so we're going to celebrate that as with my, my new solo band. We're going down to Australia in February.
Awesome.
To do that. We're going to be in Europe in May and June doing that, and in the States. So yeah, next year we're going to, I wanted to do it in the markets and for the fans that I figured would really appreciate it. At the same time, I'm not real big on nostalgia, so I play a lot of the songs, all of the hits of my working life. So there's a lot of the Throwing Copper material already in my repertoire on my set. So but to play the record from top to bottom was exciting for me as an artist.
Awesome.
I'd never done that before, so I'm kind of excited about that because I don't know how that's going to feel, So, I'm sure it's going to be fun, but it's going to be, interesting for me.
Maybe some of the songs you haven't performed since then.
There are a bunch that I haven't done for a long time. So, and I love the new band that I have, Chris Herline on bass, Rami Antun will be on drums, and Zach Loy on guitar. They're just incredible friends and guys and musicians. And so, yeah, next year, we're going to do that, but I'm also going to go in the studio and continue to make new music because, that's really, I feel like I'm in a real prolific period.
That's great. One question I want to ask, I'm not just a casual fan. I have your whole catalog. So, live and your solo stuff. A couple of songs I just adore, Dolphins Cry and Run to the Water.
Yeah.
Those obviously have spiritual undertones throughout them. Your new faith in Christianity, do you ever butt heads with like maybe what some of the intentions of your old meanings of the songs were?
No, not really.
How does that work?
No, I mean, because, at the end of the day, back then, all throughout my career, I've always searched for the sort of core truths, and I have a deep, abiding respect and love for all the traditions, all the spiritual traditions of mankind. I mean, I identify as a Christian, of course, but I feel like one of the things the world really needs is to recognize that good is good, and that I think those are bridges that we can build between faiths. We can recognize what the core values and principles are of all these traditions, and find ways to come together. And I think that when I approach, like you mentioned, those songs, when I approach those from this perspective, it's really in that spirit. It's in the spirit of, man, they're about love. They're about They're about spirit. They're about our oneness together, of the oneness of all of us, at the essence of who we are. We're all, we really share the same, the same being. We live and move and have our being in the same one God. And that I try to come from that perspective so that, no matter, I've always loved U2 in that sense, because they've always been really good at that, at making sure that, even though their music is deeply informed by their Christian faith, it doesn't obscure or I'm sorry, just wrong word. Disallow anybody else from participating. In fact, alienate. It actually does the opposite. It brings people in. Okay, yeah. And I mean, I feel like I've tried to emulate that, and I feel like that music, old and new, really sort of somehow it all fits as part of my story.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, and hopefully we hear some of those later tonight.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, every night.
Awesome. Cool. All right, we are here, Kent Stage, Mr. Ed Kowalczyk. We'll be right back.
I was on the street with a common name. I prayed for love, yeah, I even prayed. I had a vision of you that carried me through. Now it's just magic world, shaman's dream. I feel no pain, I feel no pain. I had a vision of you that carried me through. Nobody really knows what I would do for you. Nobody really knows how much I love you, baby. Nobody really knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. I cleared my mind and I turned around, grateful to that one who just laid me down. I was silent in love, pouring down from above like so much rain fell. It pierced my brain. The trees all alive with their colors like the dreams of man. I had a vision of you that carried me through.
Once again, backstage at the Kent Stage, Mr. Ed Kowalczyk. Such a pleasure to sit here and talk with you for a couple minutes. I want to ask you a question. You've been in the music industry professionally now well over 20 years. I know fads come and go. For you, what in the music industry has changed probably the most significantly, be it good or bad?
Well, of course, the technology behind how people, consume music now, on the internet, streaming and downloading, and that there's, there's incredible good that I think has come from it, and the direct connect that you have with fans, but it dilutes as well. There seems to be, almost too much art out there now, and not enough of that sort of self-editing or editing that goes on in culture that allows you to find the creme de la creme. So that gets to be difficult. That sort of cutting your niche is harder than ever because there's so much material out there. There's so much access globally now.
I read an article once where it said, 15 years ago, the major labels kind of was the filter for all that.
Agents, sure.
So,
that I feel like that. That's like one of the frustrating aspects of it is how do you get your art heard? How does it, and that's never been easy, but it's in some ways maybe too much of a good thing, with the internet. Right. But I what I try to do is just focus on the fans. I focus on making the best music I can, and then going out and doing the best singing I can do and playing. And this Island Acoustic Tour has really been great because the fans seem to be really ready to experience all my music this way, in a real direct connect. In smaller rooms than I was used to playing with in live, of course. Not necessarily everywhere, but in general here, there's like the more listening room, small theaters, and I love it, man. I mean, people are really into it.
Awesome. One thing, this is an observation for me, and I'm not trying to harp on anything. There are many artists such as yourselves that are coming forward with a gospel example, Blessed Union of Souls, I know have recently come out. James Sonnenfeld, the drummer of Hootie Blowfish, come out with a gospel album. Billy Corgan was recently on CNN, and they were interviewing him. What's the future of music? And he said, God.
Yeah.
And Brian Head Welch from Korn, and certainly you, obviously, are among that. What do you think is going on in the hearts of these musicians, or maybe in the world, that are prompting people to, to make this kind of art that,
it's evolution in spirit and people moving forward, and artists have always been, traditionally and now no different at the avant-garde. They're at the tip of the spear there, moving forward, and it's beautiful to see guys like Billy Corgan, I've always felt his a great spirit there. I've known him off and on over the years, and it's great to hear him say that, because it takes nerve, and it's a testimony of a kind, and it's beautiful to see. And it's exciting for me too, because I love Billy's art, so I want to hear how he does it, and I think that we're all, I feel a kinship there, in the sense that we're trying to, do testify like this, but but put our artistic stamp on it, because I think that's what's kind of sorely missing from mainstream Christian music in particular, is that sort of uniqueness that
I agree.
Tends to not be embraced by the gatekeepers that get what you end up hearing as Christian music isn't necessarily the fullness of the picture, and what everybody's it's not just that, there's more to it, and so I think the more people that continue to step out and do that, and do it with real artistic integrity, I think is the more the merrier. Right,
and I think what you said there, artistic integrity is key with that. So
I agree.
One question, this is the last question, and we always ask all of our guests, like I alluded to earlier, I still buy CDs, still a big fan of the LPs and physical music. What are your opinions on physical music versus digital music? Do you still buy the physical copies, or where do you sit? Because we've had many people...
See, I'm going to get in big trouble now, because I love Spotify. I mean, and I love I love it because, it's controversial for an artist to say, hey man, I stream all my stuff, but hey, would you buy my record when you leave tonight? Because it really is, it's so convenient, and I'm traveling all the time. Yeah. And if somebody says, hey, do you want to check this out? Oh yeah, let me go. Oh, that's easy. Okay. I don't have a record store, right? I mean, it's harder and harder to find them. And so, I try to strike a balance. I try to buy CDs. I buy vinyl, Peter Buck got me into vinyl. I was never really, awesome. I kind of forgot about it. And then I just got totally into it. My bass player, Chris Herline's into it. And so I've been getting slowly into vinyl.
Awesome. Cool.
But I'm still, I when I can, I stream or listen to satellite or whatever. But I think there's a place for the physical CDs and vinyl and stuff, because people do want to touch it. And it's also like when I'm on tour, I feel like I'm the mobile record store. Like, I mean, now as they disappear from the face of the earth, unfortunately, in a physical sense, they're I bring them on the road, and and I sign them, and people experience a sort of transaction there, not just commercial, but a feeling of getting your music, and they can hold it, and that's a cool thing. And it goes along with the show in a really nice way, because the show's real tangible, and you want them almost like it's like a memento or like a thing, and so that's cool. So I think there'll always be a place for physical, but man, it definitely is sure as heck easy to fire up Spotify.
Right. Well, especially being on the road, I mean, can't fault you for that.
Yeah.
So, well. I guess, where are the places that people can go and visit you online? Where's the website, Facebook, Twitter?
All the above. Yeah, edkowalczyk.com. Okay. And the beautiful thing about these browsers now is all you got to do is go EdKO, and I'm the one with the really difficult ending. And same in Facebook and all that. Ed Kowalczyk, edkowalczyk.com. Twitter at EKLive.
Awesome. Mr. Kowalczyk, thank you so much for being on the show. We seriously appreciate it, and awesome. We wish the best for you in the future, and thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you. All right, we are back. Our interview with Ed Kowalczyk. What a great guy. Fantastic just to be able to speak with him, give us a little bit of his time. We thank you, Mr. Kowalczyk, once again for that interview. Thank the Kent Stage for accommodating us. It was a cramped quarter back there, which I don't really know if you can tell on camera, but it was probably one of the. I think we had more room on ZZ Ward's bus.
Yeah, I felt. No offense to Kent State, it's not their fault. Once again, great venue to work
great
with
guys,
and good people. But yeah, it was like doing an interview in a closet. But hopefully it didn't necessarily come out that way. We hope that you guys enjoyed it. I certainly know I did. I know Bill did, and our crew members as well. Certainly, once again, really very humbling to be able to meet some of the people that we get to meet and do this, man. I mean, this is awesome stuff.
And it's because of the support you guys have been showing us. We appreciate it. Just in the last year, our Facebook and Twitter pages numbers have doubled. Our subscribership on YouTube and iTunes has at least quadrupled.
Yeah, absolutely, especially on iTunes.
Yeah.
We appreciate all the subscribers and the downloaders and of our podcast, our video podcast on iTunes, which, by the way, if you weren't aware that we were on there, certainly subscribe on there, because as soon as we put episodes out, they'll come right down to your phone, to your computer, iPad, any of your Apple products. So not, hey, Apple, if you want to throw us a few dimes, feel free, but free plug there for you.
We're also on Twitter at _rock_office. Subscribe on
Facebook.
Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on iTunes podcast, like Kevin was saying. Also, check out therockofffice.com, like we mentioned. Please help support with buying these awesome T-shirts and stickers that
we got sticker decals for your cars. Be one of the first people that to have a TRO sticker on their car. Next season, we have plans to be able to run some contests, some spotting contests, so that if you get spotted and you have a TRO sticker on the back of your car, we get a lot of great stuff from some of these bands that we work with, and we're going to be able to pass on some of that stuff as gifts, so to speak, or rewards for supporting us. So we certainly we want to be able to do that. So
awesome. As always, remember, support your local independent record store by buying the physical copy of music instead of the digital download. And we will see you next time on The Rock Office. Take care and God bless.